MMA Weekly, sitting down with UFC superstar, California kid, Urijah Faber. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Just in practice, doing some drilling here, getting ready to rumble.
Got a good gym here. This is the first time I've been in it. Unlike a lot of gyms, this gym looks like it gets used. You guys got a nice setup here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We have general classes that go all day, and then the pros are rotating in through their schedule, starting at 9 in the morning, ending around 9 at night. So this thing is busy. There's a lot of traffic through here.
My question here is a lot of people, you know, were kind of wondering, you had to win like 3 or 4 fights in a row to kind of get back into this title contention. Has that been frustrating at all on your end? Would you have liked to kind of have gotten a shot at the belt, or is this climbing your way back up the ladder soon you're fine?
No, I like this. I mean, I just fight, so it doesn't really matter. I know a lot of people talk about title fights and this and that. I mean, each fight for me individually is really, really meaningful, and so I'm fighting the most important guys that I can in the fight game right now. So.
And you kind of hinted on that yesterday in the press conference.
Yeah.
You were kind of like, you know, and you are, and it's not like you're not fighting good guys. And Michael McDonald, he's one of those, I think it's fair to say, one of those new breed fighters. I kind of brought that up to him yesterday. I compared, you know, you've been in this sport a long time. You did a lot of those things that he was doing, being one of the first complete mixed martial artists. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people see Mike as that next kind of guy, the guy that kind of puts it all together real well. Plus, he's got the power. Is that kind of how you see it?
Well, I think, you know, yeah, he seems to have a real good mind for the sport, which is great, and he's got one part of his game that's extremely dangerous. He's got that knockout power, so, you know, I'll be aware of that, and I have fought guys with that same type of power, and so, you know, really championships are won through the mentality. You know, it's a mind thing, and which guys break, and all sorts of different things go into it. I know I've got that, you know, and so it's going to be a question of whether he does. Having the ability to knock people out, and having the ability to be someone that can grind and keep going when the you know, everything's against them, is what champions are made of. So he's a young guy. We haven't seen that necessarily from him yet. I think the deepest water that I've seen him in was with Brow, and Brow proved to be the better guy. So
I think it's one of those fights where people kind of wish it was 5 rounds.
Yeah, me too, myself included. I think in any fight, the longer a fight goes, the better for me, because I'm a well-rounded fighter and I've got great conditioning.
Plus, you got the experience when you look at it that way.
Yeah, and I've never buckled in a fight, even with the worst-case scenarios: hands broken, legs battered, ribs, you know, cracked. I keep going. So, you know, for me, a long fight to the death would be the ideal fight. But you know, we'll take 5 rounds, and 3 rounds in this case.
Now, next up on the docket, are we kind of, if I always hate this, but assuming you get past Mike, are you going to be calling for a title shot?
You know what? I'm the guy for a title shot at this point. I mean, Barrow and Cruz, and getting through McDonald, that takes out a lot of guys in the division. You know, aside from myself, there's TJ Dillashaw. He's on my team. So, you know, the 2 of us, I think, will be the next up in line. Duane has brought, first off, his Muay Thai system, which is great. I mean, it stands alone. Like, he doesn't have to be there in order for us to continue to improve on it. And just having someone that's kind of an all-around coach, overseeing things full-time, is great. We've had really great coaches, and I don't think Master Tong gets enough credit for what he put into this team for years and years and years. But what happened was he started to lose focus, and guys weren't having confidence in him because he wasn't being consistent. And
was that a timing thing, like showing up to the gym type of
yeah,
stuff?
like just he left for a month without telling us. You know, we had 7 guys fight. He just left. You know, missing practices, stuff like that, and then also just, you know, kind of, he just lost focus. So Duane is
that what ushered Duane in? You were kind of like, yo, we need to find a new striking coach, and you were like, you know what? I know exactly what I want.
What ushered Duane in was, first off, the guys. You know, I never have trouble getting work with these coaches, but that's because, you know, I pay them the most. You know, when, you know,
it's your gym too. I mean,
yeah, and I invested in guys, coaches that I paid throughout the years to build this team, not just for me. That's something that's been unique for me, and something that was, you know, part of the reason why I've been able to build the team and other people can't, because I've been fairly selfless when it comes to that. And it got to the point where no one was watching out for these guys, and I've been traveling like a wild man. Like the last couple of years I've been traveling, you know, I can't be a team leader. So having Duane here has been not only his incredible background as a fighter, but his you know, being grounded and the team leader has been huge.
Yeah, he seems to have that fight mentality. True vet, been around for 15 or however many years. The mental aspect probably has to help a lot too.
Yeah, it has to help a lot, and I've been a huge fan of Duane. A lot of these guys didn't realize who Duane was. You know,
remember the crane kick in King of the Cage?
Yeah, he did that in King of the Cage. He also did that against Genki Sudo. When I first started fighting in 2003, 2004, I watched that fight with him and Genki Sudo like 50 times. You know, I bought it on DVD, and I was like, dude, that was awesome. And I've watched him. I felt like he was one of the most technical fighters around, period. But I felt like his body was kind of failing, and maybe his motivation, I don't know. But I felt like he had a world of knowledge, and it's really shown with our team.
Let's jump back to Mike McDonald real quick, NorCal guy that, you know, you said you trained with his little brother. How familiar are you with Mike? How much time have you spent? How long have you had an eye on this kid? Because for a while, he's been a kid to watch.
I've watched him, been aware of him ever since Joseph Benavidez fought his brother Justin Smitley. Because, and I think that was when Joseph first moved down to Sacramento from New Mexico and started getting fights. That was one of his fights, and it was a tough fight. Like Smitley, I remember at the weigh-ins, kicked a bottle off of his little brother's head, and we're like, damn. You know, Joseph put the smash on him at the end of the whole thing. But, you know, we were introduced to those guys at that point, and they were always super respectful, and I've always been really encouraging to those guys. And, you know, I've known him for a long time.
Well, that's one of those things. You've always been encouraging pretty much, hell, maybe aside from Dominic, and even then, if you press you long enough, you'll say a nice thing about the kid. Yeah, I mean, is that kind of cognizant of like your legacy? Like when this is all gone, I want to be known as a guy who pushed the sport more than myself?
I don't know if that's like a goal of mine, but I feel like I'm definitely going to have an influence. I know that, you know, it's one thing to do some great things on your own, but it's another thing to have a bunch of guys right next to you can high five and that you've done it with, you know, and that's like camaraderie, you know, and being a part of other people's careers and things like that is pretty cool. Now, does that mean I'm going to let anybody beat me up ever? No. You know, I don't care who it is. I'm going to get in there and fight to the death. So, you know, I'm encouraging guys, but I think the ability to do that is because I have such confidence in myself. I don't have an ego. I'm not afraid that someone's going to steal my thunder. I don't care about that. I'll do my part. I'll do my thing. If someone can beat me, great for them. You know, that's my fault.
You talk about encouragement. You talk about all these things, and you know, you're 34.
34.
Yeah. I remember back in the Warrior Nation days when we were, you know, the whole sport was booming, and you did that special, and you talked about visualization. You talked about having goals and putting stuff up on your wall. At 34, former champion, you literally fought. I mean, every fight you have is against someone important and the next level. But at 34, what's the end game now as we're winding down towards the twilight of your career? You know what I mean? What do you want these last however many years to be and to say about you as a fighter?
It's funny because in the sport of mixed martial arts, you know, you have guys like Randy Couture that start at 34 and guys that have had long, extended careers. But 34, if I was a lawyer and I just had my own, you know, started my own law firm, it'd be like, yeah, I'd be like, this is the young, he's so young, he's only 34 and he's balling and this and that. Now at the end of this, I'm gonna have enough money and enough of a brand and enough of, you know, a business outside of mixed martial arts that I can decide what's the next phase for me. Right now, I'm all focused on the fight world, but I'm using this time right now to find out other things that I like, you know, put my best foot forward, let people know who I am, and just make history and have something to look back at and be like, dude, I can watch these fights until I'm, you know, 50 years old.
Right.
I'm 50 years old and be like, you know, that was, you know, something that I want to watch over and over again. I mean, till I'm dead, really.